VBB hot seat time here live from the mountains of Italy. We are with the one and only Sean O'Leary, where we get to know the real deal Holyfield of the people who are in our network. You know the rules: 5 questions, 3 personal, 2 professional. Sean O'Leary, you are on the VBB hot seat.
Sweet. Thanks, Joe. Good to see you, bud.
Rock on, brother. All right, Sean, who's your favorite athlete of all time?
Favorite athlete? Easy. Larry Bird. Growing up, he was too slow. He couldn't jump high, but man, could that guy win. All day long, Larry Bird.
Okay, so he's a leader too. So when you think about it, who's the best leader you've ever had?
Ooh. Couple of names pop into my head right away. At the top of the list, I'm going to go Craig Beasley. Craig Beasley was my boss when I was a leader as an expat role in Denmark. He taught me so many things in terms of how to relate with people, how to get the most out of people when they are given their discretionary effort. He taught me what's important. He was a fantastic leader, my favorite leader by far. Takeda, I worked for Tim Caldwell. Tim Caldwell, great leader. I loved the trust that he gave me. He knew my background and he said, go get him. He gave me enough rope to go and do what I needed to do to be successful. And then a third name that popped into my head is Larry Weiner. Larry Weiner knew what had to happen. He would sacrifice himself to make sure that his people succeeded. So if it meant that he had to take a little bit of a hit, he would, knowing that his people were going to be successful in the long run. 3 people, very different skill sets, but man, I learned a lot from all 3 of them.
Boom, Tim Caldwell, love it. All right, thinking about where you started in your foundation, your first ever job.
First ever job. I was a glass washer for DuPont NEN. My job, I was a temp, started while I was in college. And I was washing glassware for the scientists that were doing all their experiments. And I went from washing glassware to packaging what we manufactured, to manufacturing, making the materials, to a QC scientist in about 18 months. I was able to just grow in this role and learn. It was awesome. I loved that experience.
What's the biggest accomplishment you've had thus far?
As a leader, I get the most joy out of seeing the people that I've had the ability to impact succeed. So I'd say my biggest accomplishment is when I see people move on and up in their career and they've made tremendous strides. Now I know that the vast majority is internal to them, but I had a piece of that. And it gives me great pride to see these people doing fantastic. I think of Aaron Jordan, right? Smartest guy I've ever worked with. He just constantly is changing the game and innovating and driving efficiencies within the industry. Way back in the day, I worked at Wyeth and I had a gentleman by the name of Adam Bartley. This guy was the hardest worker, super smart, and he has just continued to progress to where he is today. And he's a senior leader. And I get great joy out of seeing people succeed, knowing that I had a little bit of that, a little bit.
All right, so you're interviewing candidates. What's your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve by far is when they throw something down on a resume and they cannot talk to it, right? And when a recruiter doesn't vet somebody appropriately and they just throw a resume at me saying, yep, this could be a great fit. And then I bring them in and I just go, great, you talk about this. Are you an expert? Absolutely, I'm an expert. All right, well then here's a tough question. I'm going to throw you the fastball at 95. Can you hit it? And then, they look at it and they couldn't touch it unless it was a 55-mile-an-hour meatball, right? And it's just like, why aren't you prepared? You wrote it down. You got to be able to answer that question. And they can't. And that drives me crazy.
Perfect. Sean O'Leary, you are off the VBB hot seat. We'd love to see your comments and thoughts about Sean below. On that note, Sean, rock on.